In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 stages of reinvention. And more importantly, I'm going to help you figure out exactly which stage you're in right now so you can stop doing the wrong work for where you actually are. In case we haven't met, I'm Maghalie Renee. I went from divorce with $8 in my bank account, terrified to be seen, to speaking on global stages, building a 6-figure business from nothing, and living a life entirely on my own terms. I walked through every single one of these stages the hard way, and I'm going to map out the entire thing so you don't have to. Let's get straight into it. Stage 2 of the 4 stages of reinvention is breakthrough creator. In this stage, you have gotten through some of the pain that was blocking your growth in stage 1. People are noticing your new ways of being. Your growth is showing. On the outside, you're doing great, but on the inside, there is still a tug of war going on. As a breakthrough creator, you're starting to break through limiting beliefs. You can see them now, the stories you've been telling yourself, the patterns that have been running your life, and you're starting to challenge them. That is 100% progress. It is real, and honestly, the fact that you can see them, those patterns, means that you are aware, and that is already an expansive place to be. It's not nothing. Your highest self has been trying to get your attention, and she's working. But, and this is the trap of stage 2, you know some of your gaps, but you're unaware of your blind spots, and you can see the limiting beliefs that are on the surface, but the deeper ones are still running the show, and you may not even know it. So what that might look like: you have goals and a vision. You may even have a plan, but something keeps interrupting your momentum. You start something, you get traction. You start something, and then Stage 2 of the 4 stages of reinvention is breakthrough creator. In this stage, you have broken through a lot of the pain that was blocking your growth in stage 1. People are noticing your new ways of being. Your growth is showing. And on the outside, you're doing great. But inside, there is still a tug of war going on. So in this second stage, yes, you're starting to break through your limiting beliefs. You can see them now, the stories you've been telling yourself, the patterns that have been running your life, and you're starting to challenge them. And that is progress. It's real. And honestly, I think you need to know that the fact that you can see the patterns means that your awareness is already expanding. And that's not nothing. That is your higher self trying to get your attention. But, and this is the trap of stage 2, you know some of your gaps, but you're unaware of your blind spots. You can see the limiting beliefs that are on the surface, but the deeper ones may still be running the show, and you might not even know it. And what that looks like is you have goals and you may even have a plan, but something keeps interrupting the momentum. You start something, you get traction, and then this voice kicks in. The one that sounds like wisdom, but it's really just fear wearing a mask. Some of the ways they showed up for me was, maybe I should wait. Let me get one more certification. Let me get one more training. Let me take another course. The timing isn't right now. It's really fear that was disguised as strategy. And here's the thing, you can feel that there is a more expanded version of you trying to emerge. You get glimpses of her. She shows up in flashes, in that conversation where you said the right thing, in that moment where you really felt like you were embodied and you knew that you were on. And then she kind of disappears, and you're left wondering, how do I stay here? How do I live from this place? And sometimes you can hold your standards too high and judge yourself for not being there yet. And I remember my confidence at this stage was just starting to show up, but it wasn't anchored in my body yet. I was learning to project confidence. I looked the part. I carried myself well, but underneath it, I still had flickers of doubt, especially around certain people. I remember this. My insecurity would start to peek out. So I was doing great in certain areas of my life, but I really wanted to be living fully into my purpose in every area of my life. But it was situational and inconsistent, especially when it came to starting a business and launching my vision, really stepping into my purpose and showing up as an authority. That's where my insecurity and inconsistency showed up the most. And it was very frustrating because I knew in my soul that there was more available for me. Now, here's a trap door that I mentioned earlier. This is the thing that almost nobody talks about when you get to this next level, the thing that kept me stuck here for longer than I needed to be. Stage 2 is comfortable enough to feel like growth, but it's not the full expansion of where you're meant to go. It's this middle ground where you can stay almost ready for a very long time. For me, it was years. And that is the trapdoor of stage 2. And here's the tricky way that it shows up. It's that learning can become the hiding place. You can convince yourself that consuming more information is expansion. Another course, another this, another that. You're expanding your mind, but you're not expanding your life. And at some point, that information has to become action, or it's just intellectual entertainment. And the longer you stay in that loop, the harder it gets to move forward, because now you've invested so much time preparing that launching imperfectly feels like it would invalidate the amount of effort that you put in. So, how do we level up in stage 2? How do we get to the next level? First, you cultivate stillness. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because everything in you is screaming, go, do, build. But the breakthrough creator's biggest block isn't inaction, it's misaligned action. You're moving, but you're moving from anxiety and not from clarity. Stillness is where you reconnect with your inner knowingness. It's where the divine downloads actually land, not in the noise, but in the silence. Second, you get support. This is non-negotiable at stage 2 because your blind spots that you can't see, someone else can see them. A coach, a mentor, a woman friend, a community of women who are operating at the same frequency you're expanding into. You can't think your way out of a pattern you can't see. You need mirrors, not the kind that reflect back to you what you want to hear, the kind that are going to hold you high and challenge you. Third, you master the shift. You learn how to shift from your contracted state, stress, frustration, fear, to your expanded state in real time. Not once a day through meditation, in the moment, in the meeting, on the call. And when the opportunity shows up and your first instinct is to shrink, you learn to catch yourself and shift right then, right in the moment. That's a skill that I've watched women who come through my Unshakable program develop. And we spend 4 weeks together in sisterhood to create our next chapters, our plans, with unshakable confidence and grace. I've added the link to the description so you can find it there. Fourth, you find accountability, not someone who nags you, but someone who holds your vision, someone who sees the Renaissance woman in you before you can see her yourself. And sixth, you invest in yourself financially. Put your time, your money, your reputation on the line, because investment creates commitment. Commitment creates action, and action creates confidence. And that is actually something I go deeper into with my clients. This idea that confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from action. The women that I work with who move the fastest through stage 2 move before they feel ready. And they let confidence build from the evidence of their own ability to shift, their own courage. So what had to change for me at stage 2? 3 things. I had to start learning how to ask and receive help. I was so used to figuring everything out alone, and honestly, I was very proud of that. But independence was keeping me from the acceleration that I was asking the universe for. Second, I had to put something on the line. And third, I had to surrender. I had to admit that intellect alone wasn't going to give me my next level. I had to let myself be led. And that is where something beautiful happens, because once you start moving through stage 2, once you get the support, you do the inner work, you start imperfect action, that's when you cross into the next level that allows you to start experiencing success.